Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to have a look and practice in detail the first piece of the LCM Grade 1 piano book. It's called Trumpet Tune. So, let's get started, let's get practicing.
Okay, let's take note first of all of the speed. It's an allegro, 120 for the crotchet, performance speed. 120, let's take the metronome. So performance speed will be approximately and we'll do it slower at practice speed. Let's start tackling the first phrase. I would say that the first phrase goes from bar 1 to the minim C in bar 4. So that's the first phrase, just the right hand. To practice a little bit slower, finger 1 on C, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, E, 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 G, 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 C. And you see, it's important to get the sideways shift of the hand right away. This sideways shift is very important. What I wouldn't like you to do is this movement. Look now. And as you go to the E, to go under the hand with the thumb. There. No, just shift the hand laterally. And this is exactly when the broken chord exercises come useful, because what the broken chords do, they just teach you to switch, to move the hand sideways without this kind of a thing that I see people doing. Let's practice this beat. And that's what it is. Okay, that's the first phrase. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and etc. The left hand, it's not too difficult. The left hand plays C and E, a third, an open fifth, back to a major third, and just the root. 1 and 2 and 3 and By the way, if you can also do that, sing the part of the right hand while playing the part of the left hand, that is immensely useful to learn the piece altogether. So you have the first phrase of the piece done, from bar 1 to the beginning of bar 4. Again, the shift in the hand sideways is very important, and you might want to practice just that. Say between the first crotchet of bar 2 and the first quaver on beat 2 of bar 2, first crotchet of bar 2, and then the first quaver of bar 2, where you're supposed to do this sideways shift, changing the finger on the E. You might just practice that, like that. Finger 3 on E, finger 1 on E, finger 3 on E, finger 1 on E, finger 3, finger 1, on the same note, just to practice this sideways shift of the hand. And the same goes in the next bar. Say in the next bar, bar 3, there is a G at the beginning with finger 3, and then it's followed by the same G with finger 1. So you might just practice going from G, finger 3, to G, finger 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. You do it on the E. That's the one in bar 2. So that you just get used to moving sideways, which some people seem to be afraid of. Move sideways. Move sideways. Move sideways again for the next phrase. So once again. So the most important thing here is to get confident in this sideways shift of the hand. By means of changing finger on the E in bar 2 and G in bar 3. And make sure that the rhythm is nice and crisp, even when you're at practice speed. So for example, let's suppose practice speed is 80 BPM for the crochet. Da, 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 yes, and make sure that the rhythm is nice and crisp. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's carry on. I would say that the next phrase goes from the last crochet in bar 4 to the minim in bar 8. So it will go to the end of the second line. It will go yeah? Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's begin with the left hand. Let's begin with the left hand. If you notice, bar 5 and 6 spell out a C major chord in first inversion in the left. You start on the last crochet of bar 4, which is a G, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, C. Okay, it would appear that the first C of bar 5 and 6, it's not staccato. It's not staccato. It could be, while the first C of bar 7 is staccato. That might be a typo, or it might be a way for the editors to make it easy for yourself, so that you don't have to necessarily do the staccato in the left and the legatos and the slower in the right, because that's a further problem in coordination. Anyway, I would say that the first C in each of bar 5, 6 and 7 is a staccato, even if it's not written. Anyway, I digress. Again, let's practice the left hand from bar 4, last crochet of bar 4, up to the first crochet of bar 8. 1, 2, okay, so in bar 7 you simply have C, F, G, C in bar 8 then. So it's a perfect cadence. F, G, C from bar 7 to bar 8. From the second crochet of bar 7 to the first beat of bar 8, it's a perfect cadence. And you have the root in the bass. F, chord 4, G, chord 5, C, chord 1. Right? So all there is there is bar 5 and 6, a major chord in first inversion, and then a perfect cadence in bar 7 and 8. The right hand from the last crochet of bar 4, it's a D. Okay, but we are coming from the previous phrase from C with finger 4. And then you have to play D with finger 3. Again, it's a sideways shift of the hand. And it's also marked in the score. You see that big comma. You see that big comma before the D, before the dotted D in bar 4. That big comma means move your hand. Feel free to move. So you're coming from the C. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. More on that later, more on bar 7 later, because this requires a little bit of attention. So, let's do bar 4, 5 and 6 from the C. Let's include the C minim in bar 4. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay? So that's bar 4, 5 and 6. Up to the first crochet of bar 7. So all you have to practice there is just a little bit of coordination between the left hand doing a C in the first crotchet of bar 5 and 6, just a note, and the right hand in bar 5 and 6 doing at the beginning of bar 5 and 6. So it's 2 notes against 1. I suggest you practice them separately, just like that, just like that, but not too much, because then you have to link them to the next crotchet beat. So yeah, maybe it's actually best if you practice them 2 beats, bar 5 and 6, beat 1 and 2 in one go. And if you get the staccato in the left against the legato in the right, even better. 2 notes in the right, 1 note in the left, in bar 5 and 6, you see, 2 quavers against 1 crotchet in the left, and also a legato figure against 1 single note, staccato, even if the dot is not there, in the left. So that needs to be practiced separately. This legato in the right against the staccato in the left. Let me put the volume up a little bit. Okay. Yes, so an arpeggio in the left. And that simple motif in the right. So, from the last crotchet in bar 4, 1, 2, that's it. Okay, then so the last 2 crotchet beats of bar 7 in the right hand need a bit of consideration. It's a very short polyphonic motif. Okay, polyphonic means more than 1 voice. In this case, 2 voices. You have 1 ascending line from the A to the C at the bottom. See, A, B, C in the bottom, and on the top you have na 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 na, fa mi re mi do. You have to play them at the same time with 1 hand. Okay, so I suggest you practice them separately first. You take the bottom line of the right hand, A, B, C, with the left hand, and the top line with the right, just to get used to the sound. And the C just with the right. Just that. Okay? And when you know the sound and when you're pretty sure of what it is, then put the left back where it was, put the left out of the picture, and try and do it with 1 hand, crotchet by crotchet. So, second beat of bar 7. That's it. Okay, now you're gonna have to play the B at the bottom with the thumb again. Okay, so you're gonna have to hold on to the E on top for just a short while. That much that allows you to do that. So, F and E together with the A at the bottom. Hold on to the top note just briefly, just so that you can be allowed to go to the B at the bottom, D on top, which goes back up to the E again. It's a bit of coordination. You have to split the hand into 2 halves. The bottom half does something and the top half does something else at the same time. Okay? So, let's start from bar 4, including the minim, because we want to practice that sideways shift in the right too. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So so far we have 1 from the top, 1, 2, 3. Nice and crisp. That's it. From bar 9 through to 16, there is a whole sequence in which the right hand goes. You start on E and G up there, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, and the left hand accompanies that with nice descending arpeggios outlining the chord. So, 1 from bar 9, 1, 2, 3, and it's piano, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, etc. So it's a sequence. It's a sequence on the tonic chord, and it goes to the dominant, chord 5, back to the tonic, back to the dominant. So let's see the technical side of it. Let's see what we need to do. Okay, bar 9, right hand. Start on E and G up there with finger 2 and 4, and the rhythm is the same as we've encountered at the beginning. Ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, di, 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 ta. Only here there is an alternation between staccato, pa, 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 those quavers, and a legato descending figure, ya, da, 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 da. Okay, so you want to make sure that this ta, 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 staccatos it contrasts with the legato, ya, da, 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 ya. Okay, so let's see, 1 and 2 and 3 and. When you get to this point, at the beginning of bar 11, you clearly landed on D and F with finger 1 and 3. And next thing you gotta do is to swap to finger 2 and 4 on the same note. So once again, it's a sideways shift of the hand to change finger on the same note. In parentheses, I can see in bar 11, you have the option of maintaining finger 1 and 3. Experiment with both and see what suits you best. So let's try swapping fingers. Finger 1 and 3, swap 2 and 4. 1 and 3, swap 2 and 4. Swap 2 and 4. Okay, and then try maintaining 1 and 3 and see what you feel more comfortable with. You are given the option. 1, 3. Then you're gonna have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to swap, you're gonna have to move sideways anyway. If you do those notes, if you do those chords with finger 1 and 3, you're basically delaying the sideways move down a little bit, because you're going to have to play that descending figure starting with finger 5 anyway. So since you're going to play that starting with finger 5, it's only a matter of delaying that sideways movement down if you decide to do the chord with 1 and 3 instead of 2 and 4. Up to you. Experiment with both. You see, in bar 11, 13 and 15, you're given the option of playing those chords with either finger 2 and 4 or 1 and 3. When it comes to practicing hands together, you practice those chords and in little phrases of 1 bar, basically. And it's piano. Dynamics are piano. Okay. There's no fingering there for the left in bar 11 and 12. I did 1, 2, 3, 3. that came instinctively for me. You might find some other fingerings for yourself. Then let's see, bar 13. There is a trap in bar 14 in the way that so far in the left hand you've had rests in bar 11, in bar 10, 12, you've had rests on the second and third crotchet beat, you see? In bar 14, instead, you have C, C, C. Yeah. In bar 14. 3 C, one after the other. So, you might subconsciously be expecting rests again. Be aware, you might make a little circle on the score, that there are notes there instead of rests, okay? So be ready for those, be prepared, know that they're coming, okay? Rests, rests, notes. There you go. See? I was expecting rests, and instead there are notes there. So be ready for them. Be ready for them. Okay, boys and girls, this is an addition to the practice video of the trumpet tune. I just had an idea while giving a lesson, and I thought that I would just capture this idea now to practice this section. In particular, to practice the finger change that's required on the chord. Because as you know, you have to swap from finger 1 and 3 to finger 2 and 4. And then, yeah. I think it's a good idea to practice just the finger change on just the chords. In such a way, come above with the camera. Yeah, come above with the camera. Can you see the finger? Yeah, can you see the hand? So, finger change. Finger change. Finger change. Yeah, we just focus on that technical challenge of swapping fingers above the same keys. So you start on E and G with finger 2 and 4, and then da, 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 da. Okay, right there, practice just the finger change. And then on the next chord, finger change. On the next chord, finger change. So that you basically practice on those chords, finger 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Next chord, 1 and 3, 2, 4. Next chord, 1 and 3, 2, 4. Thank you, Evan. Now, can you see both hands?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Now, about that finger change together with the left. There is a moment in time in which you're going to have to tackle an arpeggio with the left and that finger change with the right. So that's lots going on. And I suggest you practice only that moment in time. So let's get to that point. That point. It's on bar 11, the second crochet beat. On the second crochet beat of bar 11, you are playing, you are just in the middle of an arpeggio in the left hand, and you are changing finger on the right. So that's a busy spot to think about, and I want you to practice just that spot. So finger 1 and 3 at the beginning of the bar, and then finger 2 and 4 for the following crotchets. That moment in time, the first and second crochet beat of bar 11. And then it's easy. Now, it all repeats in bar 13. Finger 1 and 3 in the right hand in the first crochet beat, and then change finger in the next beat. So practice just that moment in time. First and second crochet of bar 13. Finger change. Finger change. And the arpeggio in the left. It's important to get the finger change and the left hand together. And the same again in bar 15. Yeah, the first two crotchets. Finger change. Finger change. So you have to practice that on the first two crotchet beats of bar 11, 13 and 15, where it goes finger 1 and 3, 2 and 4. And then in bar, that's bar 11, then bar 13, finger change, and then bar 15. See, you practice that moment in time only, because that's a very busy moment in time with the finger change in the right and the arpeggio in the left. Yes? The first two crotchet beats of bar 11, 13 and 15. Thank you. And the last two lines are the last two systems of music are an exact repetition of what happened in bar in the first two systems, from bar 1 to bar 8. So nothing new there. Let's see. Yes, it is an exact repetition. Yeah. Okay, so to recap, the rhythm has to be crisp. You want to imitate the sound of a trumpet. Da, 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 da. There is lots of sideways movement for the hands, represented by changing finger above the same note. See, from bar 1 to 4, finger 3 on E, finger 1 on E, finger 3 on G, finger 1 on G, and also there in bar 4, you're coming from finger 4 on C, and then you're gonna move up, finger 3 on D, for the next phrase. Yeah? You see that, finger bar 4. Okay, then there is a technical difficulty represented by the slurred motif in the right hand, la la la, against the staccato in the left. So you have a slur, da da da, in the right against the staccato in the left. That's quite difficult to achieve, so practice slowly, crotchet by crotchet. Like that. And keep the right hand close to the keys, glued to the keys, in fact, and the left hand bouncing the staccato. That's it. That perfect cadence between bar 7 and 8. Okay, the notes in the left are quite easy. F, G, C, 4, 5, 1, and just articulating the bass. But in the right hand, what you have is a short polyphonic passage in which you must split the hand into two, figuratively. It's a figure of speech, lads. Don't go reach for kitchen knives or anything. So you have to split the hand in two. The bottom part of the hand plays A, B, this ascending line, and the top part of the hand plays the quavers, na 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 na. So the bottom goes la ti, and the top goes fa mi re mi do. I suggest you practice them separately, and then you try and join them carefully and think about every movement. Practice them quaver by quaver even. Okay, now you have to bring this up to B, so you have to hang on to the E for a short while. And there you go. So again, now hang on to the E to play B with the thumb, and also then play articulate from E to D. Now hold on to the B because it is a crotchet, and play the last E. So with the A, two notes on top of the hand. Now articulate by holding on to the E briefly and play B with the thumb and D with finger 3. Okay, and now the last note, come back up to E, and finally. Okay, these chords. By the way, it's important to stay supple there with the wrist and the arm if you want, okay? So the fingers have to be somewhat firm, otherwise you'll be going like that. The fingers have to be firm, okay? But in order to allow this gentle plucking, also because it's piano dynamic, it's soft dynamic, to allow for this gentle plucking, your wrist has to be somewhat supple to allow for that gentle bouncing. And then legato, yeah, bouncing again. Remember that every time that you land at the beginning of bar 10, 11, at the beginning of bar 11, 13 and 15, you're presented with the choice of changing finger for that chord, changing from finger 1, 3 to 2, 4, and then play, or maintaining finger 1, 3, and then moving sideways after when you have to play the descending figure legato. Okay? Because the descending figure legato has to start with finger 5. And when it comes to practice them together, bar 9 through 16, just do it slowly. Change finger. Change finger. I prefer change finger. I prefer changing fingers above the chord rather than waiting to start the melodic figure with finger 5. So the plays can be divided in 3 sections. The first section goes from bar 1 to bar 4, and it's the first phrase. Then the second section goes from bar 5 to bar 8, which ends in that polyphonic passage. The third section goes from bar 9 to bar 16. Yeah, where you have plucked chords in the right. And against arpeggios in the left. The last 2 systems of the piece are simply a repetition of the first 2 systems. Okay, now let's try and play this tune. I'll do it twice. I'll do it once at practice speed and once at performance speed. And while I do it at practice speed, I will try and point out with my voice. I will try and say what the moments of interest are. So, practice speed 80 BPM for the crochet. Let's make sure that there is some juice in the metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and forte. Move the hand sideways. Move. Slurs against staccato. Polyphonic. Piano. Legato. Mezzo piano. Notes in the left. Mezzo forte. Forte. Move. down a little bit at the very end. Maybe slow down a little bit at the very end. It's allowed in this kind of pieces. Okay, let's try now at performance speed. 120 BPM. And 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and nice and brisk. Yup, pa 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 1 and 2 and 3 and move. Piano. I hope this helps. Get practicing, happy practice, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.